Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So good morning. Start of trading week. It is Tuesday, but this market does look like it wants to break into red. But what's not red is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still on its way up. And I know a lot of people are still in disbelief, does not think that Bitcoin can go up further from here. But today I'm going to talk about the exact point that Bitcoin will start breaking out. Absolutely important point or level to look at. All right, let's get started. Welcome. You could see Bitcoin slowly trending higher. Actually, we just touched like 21.5 just a few seconds ago, but we're at 21.3, which is a few hundred higher than last night when we were at like 21.1, which is a few hundred higher than the day before. It's just slow trending at this point. More and more people, momentum is coming back. But the U.S. market is about to open in about 3 minutes. And it's looking red right now. It's looking red. But I've been saying this for a while. Bitcoin is actually the leading indicator for tech and for U.S. markets, because whenever Bitcoin starts moving up, you generally see the market, they may start out like kind of negative or neutral, and then you see it flipping to green. We'll see if it still happens today, but there's a good chance of that. Now, there are some banking stuff, banking reports, earnings, mixed. Goldman Sachs posted its worst earnings in a decade. Their revenue was so off. It's crazy that they're not selling off more in the pre-market, right? So some of the banks not doing good. Some of the banks are. Morgan Stanley says, well, they are okay because of their wealth management. I wonder if their wealth management did so well because they recommended everyone to go buy Bitcoin. Because that's what all the wealth management groups of these banks are doing. They're telling their most wealthiest customers, like, hey, you don't want to be ignoring Bitcoin at this point. We can help you buy some Bitcoin. Well, maybe. I don't know if that helped because 2022 was actually pretty bad for Bitcoin. We know that. But Bank of America says CBDCs are the future of money and payments. I don't know if they're referring to the Fed dollar, right? The digital dollar that's coming, or in general CBDCs from across nations everywhere, or in relation to stable coins within the crypto space, right? But ultimately, I think all these guys are preparing for the future, and that is utilizing digital currencies, okay, and stop using the traditional financial payment rails, which are archaic and slow and costly. You don't need none of that. When it comes to payments, crypto, blockchain, settlement times, ledger, everything that comes with what we have right now is so much superior and faster and cheaper. There is the market bell. Best bell in the industry. So they recognize it, we recognize it, and that's why we're in this space. That's why we're in early. Crypto-focused bank Silvergate reports a huge loss. Yeah, that was not that was expected, not a surprise because of their ties with a lot of these companies that went under, but they're still around. They haven't closed doors. A loss of $1 billion in Q4. That is no joke. No joke at all. And what's also no joke is Anthony Scaramucci says SBF is he has a spot for him in the ninth circle of hell. I don't know what that means exactly, but the mooch is not a fan of SBF. But someone who is a fan of SBF, Mr. Wonderful, is still doing interviews and talking about and kind of spreading fear about how other crypto exchanges will melt down to zero. It will 100% happen, which I do agree with over time. But as for exchanges that may be going under in 2023, I don't see a whole lot of exchanges doing that. Now, there may be some companies in the crypto that could be doing it, but overall, I think the contagion from what we have seen has pretty much been limited. Now, the one asterisk I would say to worry about is DCG and what they're going to do with Genesis and Grayscale, right? But I don't think they're in a position where they're just going to be absolutely wrecked and close doors and that's it. I think they will find a way to get out of it. However, I still have not heard Kevin O'Leary say that SBF did anything wrong. Still have not heard that. There's just something about this relationship there between Mr. Wonderful and SBF. He will back him till the end, to the ends of the earth. Not quite sure why, but it is what it is. All right. So outside of those things, what's going on with Bitcoin, right? So still a lot of people trying to guess what's going on with Bitcoin. Is this really a recovery? Is this really a turning point from bottom, or is just a sucker's rally, right? Well, that's what many people are trying to figure out. And I covered this yesterday. If you look at the market cycle, is this disbelief? I do believe so. I think that we have come up from bottom and we have been angry. We have, first of all, capitulated. We were angry and also in depression for quite some time. And now that things are coming up, we're kind of in that disbelief stage. But eventually, as we cross this important level that I'll get to in a little bit, we will get out of it and move into hope and then optimism. And that's when FOMO really starts building, right? And then we go all the way up to euphoria. And that will probably be in 2025. So we got some years to go. But that's where I think we are right now, in disbelief, and we will move past it. But in the meantime, here's some models from Willy Woo, who is an analyst, a Bitcoin analyst. And he has some of his own models. Here's one that's called CBDD. It's a way to measure basically the long-term holders transferred to short-term holders or vice versa, something like that. I don't quite understand it, but it does look pretty good, though, in terms of measuring bottoms. It looks like a moving indicator, right? A moving average, but you could see this has been true all the way back since the beginning. You could see the bottom point in 2012, and then this also hit somewhere around 2015. Then it hit and stood there for a while in 2018, 2019, and guess where we are right now? We have hit that point in 2021, 2022, and now we are flipping above. So this is a pretty accurate bottom indicator. I would say 100%, right? So this is looking pretty darn good. And here's one measuring cost basis of short-term and long-term holders. Again, you could see very similar to previous drawdowns, previous bottoms. And here's a macro index. Well, my camera's cutting this off, but you guys can see right there, right? So again, all these models are looking pretty darn good. And then from a trading perspective, indicator perspective, you look at, this is the 2-week MACD. So MACD has been showing a turnaround for quite some time because it's been very, very red, very down. Bitcoin has been very down, right? And this, in fact, according to Stock Money Lizard, is the longest bearish 2-week MACD period in history, and it just concluded. We are now flipping above. Whenever MACD flips above, that's always a good thing, right? But we just gone through the longest drawdown ever for Bitcoin in any cycle. We broke down longer than any other cycle ever in history. So think about that. Think about how oversold we are. And it was probably prolonged because the FTX collapse. Without it, we were around the same mark right now, like 20, 21,000. We were moving back up, and then we went down for another few months. And that's probably the reason why we went through the longest drawdown ever, because of FTX. But now we're past that, right? And of course, you look at where we are versus the next halving, which plays a crucial role in how Bitcoin moves, right? We're on track, even though we got delayed a little bit because of FTX, right? But now we're past that. We're breaking higher. So very, very good. Here's also one that shows us breaking above the 100 EMA. We have a lot of these, right? A lot of these. I mean, there's just so much that shows, so much data, I should say, models and indicators and everything else, charts that show that we are recovering up from bottom and we are itching to move higher. Now, I didn't even talk about the breakout point, right? So looking at moving averages, there is one that most people look at. If you discount everything else, there's one major level that people look at, and I'm going to bring it up right here, and that is this white line, and that is the 200 weekly moving average. This is on the weekly scale, okay? And you could see this is the support level, now turned resistance. That is absolutely huge, because if you look at this, it has been basically the bottom point for Bitcoin. Going back, if I had a chart that went back more, it would show the same thing, going all the way back to even previous cycles. But you could see back in 2018, when Bitcoin fell to 3,000, people thought that it was going to go lower, that it might have gone to 1,000. There's talks about hyperwave going to 1,000 back then, right? And maybe even below 1,000 to 800 or something. But no, Bitcoin didn't. It held at 3,000 and it stood there for a while and then recovered, right? And you could see the 200 weekly moving average was the bottom point. Now, the COVID crash of 2020, again, we fell down very, very fast. Massive panic, massive FUD. The market capitulated on everything, and Bitcoin did fall for a couple weeks below that 200 weekly moving average, but then it recovered, right? So you look at where we are now. We are actually below it. We tried to break above. We did fall below and break above, right? But we failed here because we had some bad stuff happen. For example, Luna crashing, then CryptosCapital crashing, then Celsius crashing, then Voyager crashing, right? Even then, we tried to break above. We didn't, because then we had FTX crashing, which brought us lower, right? But now we have reset that. We are back to the point where we are now inching above, and this will be an absolutely huge thing to break above the 200 weekly moving average, because we have never, ever been this far off and this long below the 200 weekly moving average. So I think this will definitely be the breakout point. This will verify whether or not this is a sucker's rally or we are in true recovery. Because if we can touch upon that, break through it, I think we will be looking good. And it's not just that point too, because I turned off the lines that I've drawn, right? You could see that point right there, right around there, about 24,500-ish, right, was the previous point, one of our previous local tops. So that is actually a resistance I already drew out already, right? So it all kind of fits in right there. There's a cross pattern almost right there. So I think as we trend higher, which we will, right, we're not too far off from there, but that point right there will be pretty important to break. And we could see a bigger breakout or recovery, however you want to define it, after we break through here, because then next up is 30,000, right? Look at this. We have no point, right, really. We fell from 30,000 down to 24, actually we fell down lower to 18s, right? But we have a little bit of resistance here. But if we break through that, we're back to the 30s. So I think that's absolutely important. Crucial. Breakout point right there. All right. So that's what I wanted to cover overall. Oh, something else. I was drawing out. You know, sometimes I get bored because I have nothing to do. I drew out this channel. And, you know, strangely enough, this also predicts kind of like the bottom. You can see the bottom point going back to 2018 to now. You could see that fits this trend line pretty darn accurately. And if you're looking at the top, right, which I drawn out, and you could do this a couple different ways, but if you're drawing out the top like this, right, and we're projecting here, let's just say we're projecting for the remainder of this year, moving to 2024, you could see that in 2018, when we recover from bottom, we recover pretty fast. Then we trended down, unfortunately, because we had this scare with COVID, and it really just brought everything down. But if you look at it overall, we stayed, let's just say, sideways for almost a year, more than a year, before really rallying up. And that's because we finally hit the halving event, and then things just went up in a big way, right? So if I'm projecting a little bit, you know, if we continue this trend upwards, we could see a tremendous rally, a tremendous bounce after we break through that 24.3, 24.5 mark, right? Can we actually see Bitcoin possibly breaking above 30, even hitting the 50s before coming back down, kind of the same pattern? Maybe we way overshoot towards the latter half of this year. You know, maybe we hit even 50s and then break back down to like maybe the 30s, and then we break up to our previous high 70s in 2024, and then beyond that. That would be amazing to see. That would be amazing to see if we're following the same pattern as 2018, 2019, and 2020. It's hard to predict because it's so early, but hey, that could be in the cards. All right, let's do some Q&A. Where's the stock market at right now? Yeah, stock market not looking so good at open, but could change. Could change. What's your opinion on potential death cross at 5,200 weekly average? I think that's a good thing. Whenever Bitcoin sees a death cross on a longer time frame scale, that's usually a bottom indicator, because death crosses are utilizing lagging indicators. And because the time frame is so long, usually by the time it happens, we're in recovery mode already. All right, let's see. I'm scrolling here. Welcome everyone on Rumble. Welcome everyone on Twitch. All right, let me scroll through here. Inverse O'Leary, inverse Kramer, inverse Schiff. Tesla. Hey, Tesla's doing pretty good today, up 4%. So my call options will be up pretty good today. So that's good. Good to see. Let's see. Mega fake out is coming February, March. Well, it sounds like you're in disbelief. Let's see. What else? Do you think Coinbase is a good exchange? Coinbase, you know, they had some bad news recently because they had to lay off 20% of their staff on top of the 18% they announced last year, right? So obviously their revenue, their profits are down because of 2022. And they're anticipating 2023 won't be much better, which is why they're making the cuts. So from a financial standpoint, and their stock being so oversold, financial standpoint, they're a little wary at this point. But do I believe they're going to go under? No. Do I feel like they're still safe? Yes. And I do think being the most regulated and the top exchange in the U.S., definitely puts a lot of scrutiny on them, which in essence you could think about gives more consumer protection in a way. Not completely, but in a way. So I think Coinbase is not going to go anywhere. They're going to withstand this, and they're going to become stronger once the crypto market recovers fully. Good morning from Seattle. Good morning. It's early in Seattle. It's like, what, 6:47 and you're watching? Man, I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how, like, people that wake up early on a daily basis, or I should say really early. But I guess, then again, a lot of people do wake up very early because they have to work. What's your opinion on 40K ADA for the next bull run? What can I expect? It doesn't matter if you have 4K, 40K, or 400K. That's not the right question to ask. The right question to ask is, how much do I need to retire? And I can't tell you that. I think ADA will, in the next bull run, obviously will surpass its previous high of $3 and go up much further than that. They have a big development year this year. There's a lot of things they're working on. So it could be quite tremendous if we have a good recovery year. When do you think we'll hit 40K? I don't know. Jan. I just got done talking about how if we're mimicking 2018, 2019, we can go as high as maybe even 50K before coming back down. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen right away. I think it's going to be, at least 6 months from now. Is Coinbase going to list VeChain? I hope so. They have listed some very bad projects, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. So hopefully they do. Does it make sense to watch all sides opposition like Jim Cramer get overall bigger picture for crypto? No, because Jim Cramer is a really bad example of someone pretending like he knows about crypto. So listening to the opposition, I would say you have to listen to someone that actually truly understands, that's been in the space for a very long time, right? If there's someone that's truly good at what they do, respectable and knowledgeable, and they're talking about something that maybe is contradictory to what everyone else is saying, then sure. But listening to Jim Cramer talk about Bitcoin and crypto, that's like asking your 8-year-old about Bitcoin and crypto. It's kind of like, it's not going to help you. I love my R1T, but I'm concerned if Rivian will survive. From what I'm hearing, Rivian is having a very, very, very hard time. Well, look at that. NASDAQ is about to flip. S&P about to flip. Dow is down, but these two are about to flip. I told you guys, Bitcoin is a leading indicator. When Bitcoin is doing well, the markets traditionally turn around. I don't know what Rivian stock is now, but let's see. What the hell is this? So they're 15 billion market cap. 15 billion is quite high considering what is Ford at? 52 billion? 50 billion? It's about right. Rivian definitely has come down. That's for sure. So, I don't know. Rivian and Lucid, they're just not selling enough cars. They can't produce enough. And, with the downtrend, it definitely didn't help. And then with them raising prices, didn't help. My R1T is still on order. And luckily I ordered it before the price hike. So I think it's still within reason, but I'm not going to get it until 2024. They already said it. Like, if you ordered a max battery pack, you're not going to get it in 2024, which makes no sense. They should come out the more expensive ones first, then release the cheaper ones. So they're doing the opposite. Again, I don't know. People like to, dog on Tesla and saying, oh, Tesla will go under, right? If Tesla will go under, then no one else in the EV space has any chance. Let's just put it that way. First of all, Tesla's not going to go under. I do think they're very oversold, just like Bitcoin. But, Tesla delivers more EV cars than Rivian, Lucid, Ford, GM, and everyone, Kia, Hyundai, and Mercedes, and VW, Audi combined, and it's not even close. The only other manufacturers that pose a threat to Tesla at this point are the ones in China. BYD sells more than Tesla, but they cater to the very ultra cheap cars, like $20,000 EV cars, right? And there's rumors that all this protesting at the Tesla dealerships was actually done by paid BYD employees. So I don't even know what to think about it. Yeah, I would not be holding on Rivian stock or Lucid. And I don't know what would happen if Rivian, you have a R1T or R1S, and a company goes belly up, who is going to support it? The answer is no one. Vegeta, I appreciate that. I do. Hey, Jason became a whole coiner. Congratulations, Jason. Congratulations. It's tough. It's tough. I mean, again, just think about it. Bitcoin is at 21,200. Even when it was at 16,000 or 15,000. How many people can just withdraw 15,000, 16,000 from their bank account and buy one Bitcoin? Very, very little. Very little. Even people that make well over six figures, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year. So many people live paycheck to paycheck. They don't even have any savings, and they just can't take out that much money to buy one Bitcoin, right? That's why DCA is the way. And as Bitcoin gets higher, and I've said this before, when Bitcoin first hit 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000, I said just think about the gravity of the situation. Like, for one Bitcoin to be worth 30,000 or one Bitcoin to be worth 50,000, imagine one day when one Bitcoin is worth 200,000, or one day when one Bitcoin equals $1 million, right? The gravity of it, I don't know how else to explain, only gets deeper and thicker and heavier, right? But in a good way, But congratulations. Rich, I am. Thank you. What's the name of the show? It's called The Next Crypto Gem. I posted on my Twitter. But there does seem to be a lot of enthusiasm over that show. And I'm excited about it. So can't wait to be on. Ghost Medic, I agree with you. They do need to give them a new look. I've said that for many years already. Look at Aave. Aave's doing good. Just a few days ago, right, I was looking at CMC, going over the trends, I think this weekend, and I said one of the things that's going to happen, and one of the things that's already starting, is a good recovery with DeFi projects. And I do believe in 2023 and 2024 and beyond, we're going to see a strength in DeFi because distrust in CeFi, right? So I do think DeFi projects like Aave, Compound, Lido, and others in the space, Maker, they're going to get stronger. So Have I ever met Wendy O? No, I've never met her, never seen her in real life. Do you think CKB, Nervos is a decent project? Yes, it is. They're very tied with Cardano too. So as Cardano gets stronger, it's going to help them. But you know they're working on they're developing their own L2. Well, they have already. They're growing their L2, and they're an interoperability project. So they're working on a lot of chains and stuff like that. Can we talk about Doge for a second? What would you like to talk about with Doge? Someone needs to let me know, because I can't find anything besides the fact that there's Elon carrying Doge and possibly integrating into Twitter, right? I don't know what else Doge is working on, honestly. There's no roadmap, nothing like that. They just formed a treasury supposedly for developers, but what are they working on? I don't see any, plans. I don't hear about it, at least. Maybe there are plans, but I just don't know about them. But that's the thing. I was hoping that Elon by now would have announced some kind of integration with Doge, but still nothing. No talks about a crypto wallet. They're coming out with some kind of Twitter currency, which is not even the crypto, it's just like a virtual currency within Twitter that you could tip people with. I think that's going to be a big failure. No one is going to buy that. I don't know why he just didn't integrate Doge for tipping. It just seems like it's so easy to do. Quant, not a fan of Quant. It's a B2B play. Very boring for retail investors. Let's draw. Get rid of these lines here. Watch The Shield. I should watch it. So many people have said The Shield is the greatest show ever. That was one that I never got into, but I have a chance to watch it now. People recommended to watch Last of Us on HBO. I was disappointed to see there's only one episode, and I'm like halfway through. It's somewhat interesting, but there's been too many zombie shows, so hopefully it gets better. The Shield is Breaking Bad good? I have to watch it then. Because I still watch Breaking Bad clips or reruns when I see them on TikTok. I still watch them. Even though I know exactly what's going to happen, it's just so damn good. Do you think BTC supply will come into play? Yes, of course. Ultimately, why does Bitcoin go up? Because more of the supply is being held by the holders. It's really that simple. The amount circulating is getting less and less and less. Even though the inflation rate is still there and you get 900 Bitcoins right now being produced per day, and it's going to be cut to 450, then it's going to be cut to 225, right? That 900 per day is being held by the miners. The miners control all the new Bitcoin. It's very hard to get a Bitcoin with no transactions because everything that people are getting have been circulated around a million times. The new Bitcoins are being held by the miners. So you could argue that we're already deflationary for Bitcoin. These guys are not letting it go. So yes, it's going to play a big role as we move forward. More people want it. So the demand goes up and the supply goes down. Just like anything. Just like with anything else. Supply and demand controls the price. And when you have a surplus of demand and very little of supply, that makes the price skyrocket. But eggs, George, eggs have always been a staple. Okay, we're going to solve the eggs problem. If you really need eggs, go to Costco. Costco Has plenty of eggs, but you have to buy 5 dozen at once. That's the problem. There's no Chinese supercomputer that will crack the blockchain. Don't be naive. That's just all I could say. I have my own chickens that produce 10 eggs a day. I have too many eggs. You should just sell it. Sell at a farmer's market. I'm pretty sure you could make good money by selling it. That's almost a dozen a day. If I had a huge yard in the middle of nowhere, I would raise chickens too. My house eats 150 eggs a week. Are you being serious or not? If you're being serious, then you should definitely buy your eggs from Costco. If you have a Costco nearby. Hey, NASDAQ is flipping to green. S&P flipping to green. Peloton hires former Twitter executive as head of marketing. I don't think that's going to help. Peloton is in really, really, really bad shape. They pumped, got very hot during COVID. Now that people are out and about, no one wants to pay that much for a bike. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to help. And Twitter's head of marketing, I don't think that helped Twitter at all either, whoever that person was. This girl, I guess. What is this? GM reveals new Chevy Corvette E-Ray hybrid sports car starting at over $104,000. I didn't see this. It'll be the first electrified Corvette available later this year. No. You can't have a Corvette without a big stinking V8 and that exhaust note. Yeah. Unfortunately, EV is the future. I know that. If you want a really high-performing car, you need to go EV. But, you know, I'm totally considering getting a Z06, but it's impossible to get right now without overpaying. Why do they have to call it E-Ray? I know that they're trying to... You know, I know it's called Stingray, and then they're trying to, you know, do a wordplay of that called E-Ray. I mean, they don't need to say that, okay? They just say, you know, make something else cool. That sounds stupid. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not going to be buying that. I'll be buying a regular Z06 with the 5-liter V8 that can rev up to 8,500 RPM. 5 liter or 6 liter or 7 liter. I forgot. I forgot what the displacement is. Are you interested in Illuvium? I've been looking a little bit into them, but their game is still not out. They have all these like side things you could do, right? But their main game is not out. And I don't know why it's taking so long. I mean, there's only so long you could wait before, you know, people kind of get turned off by that. So, still kind of waiting for that. Johnny, I don't believe hydrogen is the future. No. Who wants to sit? Have you seen a hydrogen car explode? Because you do not want to sit in there when that happens. The whole thing, it's under such high pressure. We don't have any hydrogen stations out there besides a few in California. Hydrogen is not the future. If anything, it'll be like some kind of, since we have finally, since we now have fusion, I think we have, first time in history, developed a fusion engine that actually can produce more energy than it takes in. If we could somehow develop that into some kind of sustainable engine in a car. That would probably be the future. But hydrogen itself, it just seems no. EV will definitely dominate for the foreseeable future. Crazy people will slash your tires in the UK if you drive an SUV, even if it's electric. Is that the case? Is UK really that that anti-SUV? I do want to visit the UK someday, or London specifically, but I'm wondering if it's really that bad in London. Not that I'm going to be driving SUV there anyways. Everyone's saying no. So whoever said that, just spreading FUD, I guess. To the moon, good morning. Man, a lot of talk on Rumble I've missed out. London is the acid attack capital of the world, and London likes machetes too. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about that movie Machete, which is the stupidest movie ever, but it's so entertaining. I recommend that movie if you want a good laugh, but it's not kid friendly for sure. What do you think about the idea from Bob Lucas? Man, he has not produced anything about Bitcoin for a while, right? We could see a left translated cycle peaking 24 instead of 25. I don't know what that left translated cycle means, but ultimately you're asking, can we peak in 24 instead of 25? There's a possibility. If the 4-year cycle, I mean, the next halving event is like March, April of 2024, right? So let's just say it happens in April. We would have 8 months left remaining of the year. So that could we peak in December 2024 rather than peak sometime in 2025? Sure. That can happen. That can happen. I don't know what he said to justify that, but is it a possibility? Yes. I mean, cycles will mimic each other, but they won't be exactly the same. You know, they're rhyming. They're not identical. So can we have a variance by a few months or so? Sure. I would love to race a turbo diesel dually, but I don't have the space for one. Render, never been a fan of Render. The whole business thing, the model doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Why would you try to? Well, first of all, it doesn't even. I don't even know how they're going to transist because they were using GPUs. Well, the thing is, you know, Render is a project for like 3D creation, 3D animation, 3D rendering, and you share your GPU power on top of Ethereum network, which makes a whole lot of sense because before, Ethereum miners were all using GPUs to mine, right? So yeah, you can have some of that. But what doesn't make sense about it is because Ethereum network is still congested and it has very high gas fees. But now that all Ethereum miners have sold off their GPUs, you know, who's actually using it for that purpose? And the congestion and high gas fee problem is still there. So the render, just the whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. B-Pro already sold out, so I have no interest in them. Rue, who was the CEO, he told me months ago he sold out to a bigger company. He's just a developer now. It's owned by a much larger company. I don't know what their plans are. So because of that, I got disinterested, and I don't follow B-Pro at all anymore. NKN is nothing like Render. NKN is trying to displace TCP/IP, which is an impossible task at this point. So Tesla's kind of flying high right now, is it? Not really. Oh, 6%. That's good. That's really good because my call options are probably blowing up right now. I bought some call options like close to 100 and around 110-ish or something like that. Yeah, I think there's just so much FUD about Tesla, right? And recently they just cut prices up to 20% on their Model Y, which naysayers will try to drive the narrative, oh, they're so desperate they have to do that. No, they're actually trying to prove a point because the tax code to get that 7,500 EV credit, it seemed like the government did it on purpose. They limited it at $55,000. So obviously Teslas were above that. So they did it just to say a big FU to the IRS. They lowered it so much so that the Model Y can now get that $7,500, right? Plus, with the discount that they just had, Tesla's Q1 numbers is going to be through the roof. It'll be unlike anything we have ever seen before. Their 2 gigafactories are now in play. The Austin one is fully in production. The China one's fully in production. I think the Germany one is still not quite there yet. But if you think about it, it's a brilliant move by Tesla. It's a really brilliant move. It pisses off the existing people that just took delivery, yes. But after the tax credit is over, which could be over by March, they could re-raise prices once again. They have no problems with demand. And plus, they were just so oversold. Not a fan of this. They should just produce more Z06s and ZR1s. They don't need to go into EV space. Joker, are you serious? I'm not even going to answer that. Excited about Luxo's mainnet? Sure. Why not? Another promising L1 created by the guy who created ERC standards. Could be exciting. There'll be other standards, and it'll be great for NFTs, but probably for other things too. Are we going to have a pullback today? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. Why do you care? Feeling very bad holding stables. Living in Germany. Any advice? What do you mean? Holding stable coins? Why do you feel bad about holding stable coins? I'm not sure where you're getting at. Anyways, 4Runner and Model Y, 2 very different cars, not even the same realm. So you have to decide what you want, an off-road vehicle or a luxury EV vehicle. 2 very different things. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, Bitcoin is looking pretty good. 12.3 continues to just trend a little bit higher. I talked about that breakout point, which I think is absolutely crucial. And if it does break it, I think we will see a lot more upside. So let's hope that happens sooner than later. In the meantime, the U.S. market is trending upwards from its red. So that's good. And we'll see where the day ends up. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Take care. Have a good one.